We're talking Week 12 college football underdog best bets. And Jake, you and I have been hot on our videos, making picks on underdogs who are winning outright on the money line. This week, we're now getting into rivalry season. We've got teams fighting for bowl eligibility. There are going to be a lot of spots that I like, and I think every underdog play I take with the points, I'm going to have to sprinkle the money line.
And most importantly, we've got teams that want to keep their rivals out of bowl games out of spite and get wins even though their season's over. So everyone's got something to play for this time of the year.
It starts off with a meaningful one. Kansas State is at Kansas. Kansas getting 8 points. How do you feel?
Big time rivalry game here, absolutely. These are two of the hottest coaches in the entire country, potentially guys who might not be at their spots again next year after back-to-back really strong seasons for both. Both are currently in the playoffs. Both are 7-3. I'd say Kansas has been struggling a little more as of late than Kansas State has, mostly due to that loss last week against Texas Tech. They had lots of opportunities to score, only put up 13 points. Jason Bean got injured in that game. He's kind of a questionable game time decision for this one, so we'll see what happens. But I think he's going to play, and I still like Kansas +8. In this rivalry game like this, I love getting points at home. And Kansas' offense, I think last week was kind of an outlier. I'm not worried at all. I think Lance Leipold's going to have his guys practicing hard, having a great game plan ready to go. And I think this is going to be a super competitive game that's going to be a one-possession game. So I'll gladly take the 8 points at home with a Kansas team who I'm really, really hot on.
Yeah, I faded Kansas back-to-back weeks, and they finally lost one to Texas Tech, fortunately, because I had Texas Tech +3.5. I love that this one's at home. I love that they're coming off a loss, and it sounds like Jason Bean's going to be back. So if he is, the offense should be back to their true form, and I have no problem getting 8 points in a rivalry spot when Kansas State hasn't been that good on the road anyway. Next is Stanford +6.5 at home, and they've won 10 of the last 13 in this series, and it's one of the most historic rivalries in college football. At home, getting points just doesn't feel fair, even when they're coming off a 50-something point loss to Oregon State. They've been bad against good defenses, but they put up 43 on Colorado and 33 on Washington. You look at Cal, they rank in the bottom 15 nationally in total D. This has shootout written all over it, and they're playing at home, which is a big advantage since even though they're not that good, the fans, the players, the coaches, everyone still cares since it's a rivalry game and it means so much. I'll say Cal has a chance to win, and I think they probably do, but Stanford should be able to cover 6.5 in what I expect to be a 3-point finish.
This line's a little confusing to me because Cal's been playing pretty solid football as of late. I know they're 3-7, and not all those solid performances have led to wins, but they were incredibly competitive against USC, against Oregon State, even against Washington. They put up a good number of points. I would lean Cal to win this game. But the line being under 7, I actually think it's really trying to tempt people to betting Cal. So naturally, I think Stanford is probably the play because of that fact. Tough line to pick here, but I'm going to ride with you and stay with Stanford.
Next is SMU at Memphis. Memphis is +8 at home, and this is a game where it's been a 3-point finish 3 years in a row. So you like Memphis, but why?
Yeah, this is a competitive rivalry game that these teams have been really even at year over year. These teams are also both playing really, really well on the offensive side of the ball. Memphis has put up something like 40 points 4 weeks in a row. SMU is one of the highest scoring teams in the country also. I love the over in this game. 66.5 feels way too low in a game where both teams are going to get to 40, in my opinion. This feels like a game where it's going to be whoever has the ball last wins type of shootout. And that type of scenario, I think it's going to be a one-possession game. I will gladly take 8 points at home. I think that's way too many points for a Memphis team that has an elite pass game.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you. I think SMU's the better team overall, and they've got a better defense, but Memphis scored 44, 45, 45, and 59 in the last 4 games, so they're going to be able to keep it within a touchdown at the end, especially at home in what I think is a rivalry game. It is, right? Maybe a little bit of an American rivalry. It always is a close game, so we'll consider it one.
Or at least it's like a modern rivalry, these teams being even and competitive with each other.
Exactly. Every year it's close. Next up is Colorado getting 4.5 points on the road at Washington State. Now, I'm going to tell you today, it is finally time to get back on Colorado. I have not been hot on them at all this season. I think this is going to be their last win of the season. They've played 3 straight top 25 games, and all of those games were against really good defenses. And every week they got closer to pulling off the win. UCLA won by 12. Oregon State won by 7. And then last week, Arizona won by 3 on a walk-off field goal. Now they go to Pullman, but this is the worst defense they've faced since Stanford, and Shadur's offense scored 43 that night. Washington State's bad, and they keep spiraling, so I've got no faith in them to cover more than 3. And with so much frustration at Colorado, I think they'll finally get a big win, and they'll give themselves a chance to make a bowl game next week at Utah.
Yeah, Wazoo has been one of the most disappointing teams in the country, at least for me so far this season. We were relatively high on them to begin the year. We really like Cam Ward, and I don't think it's Cam Ward's fault per se, but they won the first 4 games of the season, including a win against Oregon State that we were both impressed and surprised by. And since then, they've gone on to completely squander the season, losing 6 consecutive games, really not being competitive in any of those games. Maybe against Stanford, but come on, it's Stanford. I don't know why they're favored in this game, frankly. They're not good at all. They've played the bottom 3 teams in the Pac-12 besides themselves in Colorado the last 3 weeks and are 0-3 against them. I just don't know how that's going to change. I don't know what they're going to do to get it done. So I like Colorado plus the points here too.
Yeah, it's just a shootout spot because neither of these teams have any defense. Next is FIU at Arkansas. Arkansas is given 29.5 points. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, definitely a lot of points to give, especially, with a team like FIU, who's not the most talented team. But this is a pure line read spot. Arkansas this season has been incredibly disappointing when they've been favored. They've been very competitive as an underdog, but when they've been favored, they're not getting the job done at all, and especially not to this degree. Against the only team this entire season they would have covered this number against is against Western Carolina in the first week of the season. Even week 2 against Kent State, they only put up 28 points total. I just don't think that Arkansas is able to be a team that's able to blow teams out this season. They're more of a team that plays their level of competition, as we've been saying this entire season. So I'll take 29 points if it's FIU. I'll take 29 points if it's IU. I'll take 29 points if it's the nunnery school for the poor. So
my fear is FIU is just so bad. They were held to 14 or less by Liberty, UTEP, Middle Tennessee, and Maine. So if Arkansas can hold them to 14, they just need to score 44 to cover here. But now that I think about everything,
the over-under for the game is only 51.
Yeah, so maybe you're right about that. Arkansas plays the level of their competition. They play well on the road. They play terrible at home. I don't know if I'll take FIU or not. Right now, I'm going to stay away because I do like Arkansas, and I think my loyalty to Arkansas is holding me back from picking against them against a team like FIU at home. Last is Northwestern at Purdue. Purdue -1.5. I don't think it's time to fade Northwestern yet. I think they've covered as dogs 4 weeks in a row now, and I think they won as a double-digit underdog twice. Yes, they beat Maryland as a 14-something point dog. They beat Wisconsin last week as a 10-point dog. I think the books just can't believe they're winning, and they expect them to regress back to their normal form. But they're really hot right now, and their coach has them playing good defense, and I think they're playing good enough to win these last 2 games and get bowl eligible. Ben Bryant's back, so they've got 2 solid quarterbacks that can manage the offense. And right now, I think this team really could win any game in the Big Ten West because the Big Ten West is just so down bad. You saw 3 weeks ago they played Iowa. They only lost by 3, and I would argue they're the best team in the West. So they're playing at their hottest. Purdue's coming off a good win over Minnesota where they scored 40 or almost 50 points. But I just think Northwestern overall is the most complete team behind Iowa in the Big Ten West as it stands today.
You told me before the season that Northwestern had a legitimate shot to get bowl eligible. I would have slapped you in the face. I thought there would have been a better chance that they will go winless and make a bowl game. But here we are, and you're 100% correct. They have a very legitimate shot to make a bowl game. And they've been probably the most impressive team to me in the entire Big Ten. I thought they were going to be absolutely horrible. And they've kind of really rallied around themselves and had a very decent season. I kind of lean with you here because I don't think Purdue has anything special whatsoever. The only games they've won this season are games where Hudson Card has gone above and beyond, put the team on his back to get the win. And I think Northwestern's defense is tough enough that they're not going to be able to give up that type of yardage to Hudson Card. On the road is a little bit difficult, but I think I would lean Northwestern here as well.
Well, if you want to take this play or any of the other games that we've talked about, you can sign up from any state in the U.S. for BroThrow. If you go to the description box below, it's brothrow.com/YouTube. That YouTube code is the code to get into the site. You get to play at +100 odds on spreads and totals. So if you bet $50, you win $50. There is no VIG. There is no fee that you pay when you play on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any of these other sites that are out there advertising to you. Jake and I place all of our bets here, and we get better odds on the money line than anywhere else you'll find. So if you want to learn more about BroThrow, you can watch more of the videos that I've made on this channel to see how it works. And Jake, I think we've got some good picks here, so I'm riding them all on the money line as well as the spread, and hopefully we have some good wins this week.
We got a couple more weeks left of college football. We got to enjoy it. Let's see some big dog upsets in the last couple weeks of the season. I want chaos.
All right, I'll talk to you next week.